Shanti. Thank you, Professor Datta, for the nice introduction. Let me start because as per introduction itself, I was mainly my whole of life I spent in INMAS. I'm sure because I'm among most of the doctors, so INMAS must be known to all of you. So I'll start with a small story. I'm straight going to the point. I remember, if I'm not wrong, it was 1997 or so. One of my colleagues, because first MRI in whole of Asia, as per my knowledge, was installed in MRI. So one of my colleagues, he was heading the MRI, Dr. Kushu. At that time, he was doing what are the kinds of effect on brain related to meditation. And coincidentally, till then I was not in Gyan, so we call that we are student of Brahma Spiritual University. So till then I was not in Gyan, so three meditators from Karulbagh centers, they had gone because MRI cannot go to the place, so the person has to go to the Bhaya. So that step started, or once after that it was over, they were sitting and discussing with my colleague. And that time they were saying like how to have from multiple thoughts to single thought, how to directionalize the thoughts. And let me accept frankly that I was an orthodox scientist. I immediately laughed, and then I said it, what's you were talking? He said, brother, you have some curiosity, then conversation happened. But I'll conclude because sister started with this small meditation test. After practicing since 2000 till today, I'm feeling it. It's a journey which we can start. It starts with one single step, but it's a 10,000-mile journey which we can easily overcome. So with that note, I'll come straight to this part. I remember I kind of joined this Brahma Vishwavidyalaya in 2000. So 2001, I started seeing some activities related to Spark. But God's blessing, we call it Brahma. I was not there for maybe 8-9 years. But in 2010, our Dad and Chief of DRDO, Dr. V.K. Sarswat, who is presently a member Niti Ayog, he was supposed to go for a Spark conference, as Dr. Datta was also telling that we have an annual conference over there, and that is called SIR, Spirituality Research. But 20 times that happened, he'll go, he'll not go, he'll go, he'll not go. But finally he went 24 hours before. And he was so impressed by the kinds of activities which were going on in headquarters of Brahma Kumaris that he said that first thing which I would like to have, before inaugurating, I'd like to have a meeting with Brahma Kumaris, how to have a research collaboration with the DRDO and Brahma Kumaris. That's how the journey mainly. Before than that also, Spark was doing wonderful piece of work. But the specific journey related to with multiple research or academic organization, that mainly, to the best of my knowledge, started there. No doubt, DRDO had already done one project with Brahma Kumaris. That project was known as CAD, coronary artery disease, and how to overcome that kind of an issues with the help of Raj Yoga meditation. That one of our unit in DRDO was DEPAS, Defense Institute of Physiology and Allied Sciences, and Brahma Kumaris, Dr. Satish Gupta, it was going on. Coming back, so after that meeting, that meeting happened in DRDO headquarters, multiple VKs, I call it in short Brahma Kumaris. So they came to our headquarters, and then journey started with the three institutions of DRDO, Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences, where I was there, Defense Institute of Physiology and Allied Sciences, and Defense Institute of Psychological Research. A short story, there was wonderful related to psychological skills. There were multiple skills, but I got only 2 skills. One was happiness skill. How in case of the Baba's child, means he started practicing meditation, even after the duration was only less than a year, then also the tremendous significant difference, which is already a published paper, was there in a happiness scale and hopeless scale both. Related to repast, there were multiple physiological parameters, like I'll take one or two. For example, heart rate variability, there was a huge difference. Even in case of the ECG pattern also, whether we talk about LF by HF ratio, there was a good difference also detected over there. In case of the in-mass, journey started there. We did some of the work, but that continued. I think I remember till I was there. I got retired in 2023 from in-mass. So till then, that was there. I can't comment to present situations. But then journey was up to the level of not only FMRI, up to DTI level. So starting from eye tracker to ECG to EG and then finally FMRI and DTI. Even up to the level of, in case of long-term meditators, what are the kinds of structural changes which can be detected with the help of diffusion tensor imaging. I think all these terminology must be already all known to, because all are doctors. So not to share about DRDO more. Then as Professor Datta said it, our journey, because one of my students who was from neuroscience background, he published a paper which was being presented in Japan, and there University of Zurich, which he was sharing, Professor Pascal and one more, Professor Ackerman. So both of them were there in the conference. They said it, we will have to have your Rajyoga meditators data and we will try to do the analysis. What you have done, but let us cross-check it. Let me frankly accept it, brain network analysis research, to the best of my knowledge, was only confined in India only up to the level of MRI data. But related to EEG data, we started again brain networks. And they also did the brain network analysis based on our Rajyogi meditators data. And they said it, the kind of result which we have got it, I'm not supposing, but they said it, that the kinds of brain networks which we are finding it, we have not found in many meditators. And why I'm quoting about them only because we were privileged to see their lab. That lab is supposed to be known, the best lab in the world related to sleep research. Professor Ackerman's lab. And that's how international journey also started, because I'm shortening, because I think Dr. Anjay will show some publications part also. But it was not restricted only to the hospitals, it was not restricted only to the research organization. The journey went on continuing to the academic organization, few IITs, few AIMS, even up to the level of IISc Bangalore, as he said it. Because there also, the student whom I am quoting, he did his postdoctorate from IISc Bangalore, and that was also in the field of, in Brahma Kumaris, we call it Sakshi Drasta. So once we see, we become an observer from outside, and then how the kinds of brain networks, and up to the level of, in case of EEG signals, I'm sure most of you must be already aware about, we have 5 kinds of bands, alpha, beta, theta, theta, gamma. So even up to the level of gamma band, what are the kinds of association with theta or alpha band? That also was worked out in his postdoctorate. And God's blessing, I was smoothly transitioned from defense to civilian, my present journey, where I'm in School of Psychology and Education. 2 of my students were doing PhD. The journey which, as Datta said earlier, it was for cognitive assessment and enhancement of soldiers because of the adversaries, which, as he rightly said it, are almost true with all kinds of doctors or paramedicals, and equally true sometimes with sports professionals also, because there also it's kind of a fraction of milliseconds journey. So cut short, at present I am trying to extend from cognitive health to mental health there for civilians, and I will call them subjects, like my mainly subjects are school students and university students. I'll not quote the name of the university because that's one of the prominent university of NCR. In 2022, I collected the data of 159 UG PG students with their collaboration and founded 2022. No doubt it was a little after COVID, but the journey was very, very alarming because 70% of them were suffering from moderate to severe anxiety and depression. And the worst part was neither they were aware, nor their parents were aware, and nor their teachers or gurus were aware. So if it is going unnoticed, you can imagine. I normally take a joke with Dr. Ramajan. So you are increasing the number of patients to psychiatrists. So in that journey, Brahma has been traveling a lot since 1936. So the journey is through meditation or maybe in combo with medication. So with that, I'm really strongly thankful of this hospital, and in the end, I quote in Hindi, जो अभिमन्यु का बोला जाता था, मुझे उम्मीद है उसी का नेक्स्ट जर्नी विद योर विल बी पॉसिबल कि अगर बेबीज के साथ में कुछ चैलेंजेस रहता है और मदर उस समय स्ट्रेस रहती हैं, हाउ मच इट इज गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट अ लॉट related to research part. We call it Ansa Seva. So with that, with the kinds of vibrations it works, I've been following multiple research work by Russians and other people who follow the aura philosophy and the kind of interaction of auras and all. But I'll stop it here because I know there is a paucity of time for Pranjal to share and all. And I know it's a limitation of time. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sushil Chandra sir, for that insightful journey into your transition and the current contributions which you have done to the field. Now, I would invite our director, Dr. Sarita Garikam, to say a few words and provide her insights. And as many of you would know, ma'am herself is a meditator, so she will get the perspective much better. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Vikram, and thank you, Dr. Kelly, to have hosted this program today, and thank you to all the Brahmakumaris who have come all the way to help us, to guide us. So as I said, that I am also in the spiritual quest, like each one of us, in the meditation. So I'll no wisdom, but I will just say a few of my thoughts. So as Om Shanti, I feel is a very good word. Om is universal and Shanti is peace. So whenever you talk to each other, it is like a universal peace you're sharing with each other. So I like that very much, and we are reminding every time that it is a universal peace which we are in the quest for. So the aim, as I feel, of all our lives is happiness and contentment. Why we have come to this earth, like I also follow Kriya Yoga and my Guru Sri Paharganj, and everywhere I keep listening to various podcasts and all, so to find out what is the aim of life. The aim of life, I feel, is happiness. For all of us, in the quest of happiness, we are earning money, we are visiting, touring various places, seeing various places, treating our patients also gives us a lot of happiness. So all this, actually, we are in the quest of happiness. So how to get this happiness is our journey towards it. So I feel meditation is one of them. Like our Gita says, there are many ways of connecting to something which we call God. Actually, is our own self, our own energy, which is has to be connected to the outside energy, which we call as God. So how to connect is like Brahma Kumari says, Raj Yoga is also the same as Kriya Yoga, or Jap Yoga, or Karam Yoga, what we are doing. So yoga means your connection from the mind, body and soul. I feel there are three things which we are interacting: the mind, body, and soul. So the mind has to be connected to our soul through our body. Because when the body is doing all these activities of sitting, meditating, connecting our mind to our own soul, which we have to connect to the bigger generator of power, which is the universe. So it is a very beautiful journey, and everybody is in some step of it. Maybe in the beginning, or some people like you people who have actually reached that stage where you are in connection with the whole universal Father or God. So as I say that healing, like genetic healing, also takes place in meditation, and human potential, why you've been brought to this world, will also come out with this connection with the God, and the faith and belief that somebody else is also there to guide you and help you. If you have to manage everything in your life yourself, it will be so difficult. So you leave it to that higher form that He will look after, and He looks after. So as she said, that meditation with medication, I feel meditation with no medication will actually make you reach where you want to reach. So I thank you all once again, and this is a scientific way of proving all the scientific minds that actually this is very scientific. So they will show you how delta theta waves are inside you, and how these delta theta waves are in the universe, and you can connect to them, and you can get that ultimate peace which you are always looking for. And we need the scientific way, the EEG and the MRI, the functional MRI. I was first introduced to this functional MRI in a meeting in IIT, where the INMAS has presented that how with yoga the oxygen content of a particular lobe increases. So I was highly impressed. That was about 10 years ago when the IIT AIMS projects were going on together, and this was proven over there that the oxygenation of the brain increases with meditation. And I think you're presenting those data also. So this is very scientific, and you can heal yourself because of that increased oxygen. I think the medical field has already taken this by meditation. They are going to heal various diseases like coronary artery and other psychological problems also. And as you also mentioned, the Garab Sanskar is already, I think many people have taken that in pregnancy you have to heal the mind or make the mind more strong of the baby who's going to come into the next generation. This I thank you once again. Wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for those words. I now call upon our next speaker, Dr. Brahma.
Rahul.
Very good afternoon for all the eminent personalities here and all of the brothers and sisters who are sitting in front. So before I just give a overview about different research activities that we have been doing in the name of SPA, I just want to give some context. How did I enter into this mysterious journey? Because many times, when Dr. Sushil Chandra was also sharing, they usually have a suspicion on me, who am I actually? Am I a doctor, or am I a sannyasi, or am I an engineer? Because basically I'm a medical professional. I have been practicing meditation since 2001 when I entered my college, but currently I'm working in IIT. So many times people get confused, what am I actually doing? But it's not a kind of confused journey, it's a very well planned and designed journey. How it all started was, it was in 2001 when I joined medical college in Madras Medical College. My elder brother got fixed problem for the first time. We were actually sleeping in the same room. I was the one who was seeing him. He developed GTCS. Because of that, I had to take him to hospital, and I brought to the same hospital where I joined for my MBBS. That was the first time, because earlier the dreams were different. We to service this, that, so many things. But as you all know, once you enter into second year, your whole dream changes in a different direction. Service takes the back seat. So after I brought my brother to hospital for consultation, I was seeing the whole story from the patient's perspective. To cut short it, finally after the consultation, what I decided was either I need to earn lakhs and lakhs if I want to get treatment in case if I get any problem, otherwise I should decide to die peacefully at home. Honestly speaking, these are the two thoughts which I was holding in my mind after I brought my brother out of the consultation in OPD. So this mysterious journey of with medicine, with spirituality, with engineering, it all started in 2001 with this exchange with my brother. And during that time, in the entire 5.5 years journey of MBBS, only once I heard this term called as complementary and alternative medicine in one of the presentations in symposium. And it was that time I decided I need to become a mix of both spirituality and medicine. And my PhD mentor, Dr. B.N. Gangadhar, who is currently the National Medical Commission's president, he was at that time in demands. So I wanted to just talk to him. After a few years, it was not in 2001, because this is a very interesting but very tough and difficult journey, something like not really a realistic journey during that time. And he was interested in meditation and related kind of research. So I consulted him at that time. He made another big kind of confusion. It's a very interesting thing, but I don't know what he will become later on. And in fact, he became my PhD mentor later on when I took PhD at NIMANS with other university in collaboration. So this is how the whole journey started. But now looking back, almost 25 years, I could actually proudly see myself. This is one of the best combinations that anybody can have. Of course, it requires a lot of courage, because you need to resist your parents, you need to resist your own fellow beings, especially the professionals, to think like this, a kind of, maybe people will think like it's a kind of masala, but it is one of the best combinations which the customers, the patients are looking for now, and we are forced to teach. For example, when you sit in meditation centers, many of the times we get patients saying, doctor has suggested to do meditation, but the doctor who is prescribing, most of the times they do not even have any idea about what is this meditation to which we are actually suggesting these patients, or whatever yoga it is. So it is need of the hour for all of us to have at least some understanding about these things. So with this, let me just quickly take you through different kinds of research works that we have done. So these are all the different institutional collaborations. So the main objectives of all the researches that we conduct through SPARC, Spiritual Applications and Research Center, it's mainly these four things. One is scientifically exploring all the spiritual lifestyles that is already existing, especially in Indian context. There are so many things, not particularly related to Brahma Kumaris, that is one of the aspects. The other thing is various meditative states. Can we understand what happens physiologically? So that is the second important thing. And then, can we also develop some tools, assessment tools, to sustain these kinds of research? For example, even now, we do not have many assessment tools based on, rooted in Indian context. We heavily rely on even concepts also for doing research related to meditation from Western medicine or Western psychology. So this is one of the another goals for these kinds of research. And the last one is, finally, how can we apply all these things to alleviate sufferings or pain in the name of disorders? So these are the four major goals with which we work consistently in collaboration with various institutes. So I'm not going to bore you with all the kinds of publications, references, everything. I'm just going to give a gist of all the research work that has happened. So each and every slide is a research work which is already published in international peer-reviewed journals. So this one is related to proficient meditators. How are they different in terms of attention and their well-being? This was conducted at NIMANS. This was one of the PhD work basically. So what we actually found was, we have asked the meditators intentionally to shift between various mental states. For example, they were given some kind of stress-inducing mental task, and after that task, they have to do just meditation for 1 minute. Again, stressful task. They have to keep shifting between these two things. So this was the task. And what we found was proficient meditators who have been practicing for a longer time, they have better capacity to shift between stressful task and just 1 minute meditation. So this is a very important message there, because many times when we say meditation, people think that you have to sit for so many hours together. It's very difficult. That's not for me. It's for elderly people. I'm just 25 years old. These are all lame excuses. So even with just few minutes, if you have a proper mindset, you can definitely experience good kind of stuffs. And these meditators who had better capability to shift their attention, they also had good well-being, which were assessed with some standard scales compared to short-term meditators or non-meditators. So this was one of the study, again, one of my PhD students who is currently based at this Sapienza University. Many of the times when we say meditation, people think that yes, meditation is an experiential thing. Is it really possible to assess all these things with some scales, with some scans, with EEG, all these things? Because they'll talk just black and white. But when you say happiness, it means something to you, it means something for him. But whereas when you assess those things in EEG and other objective parameters, you'll get something, but can you capture the whole story? Many times people have this question. So to answer that, what we have done was, we have done something called as microphenomenology. So we take some objective parameters in terms of experience. Based on that, we explore that in detail in terms of very elaborate interview, which we call as microphenomenology. And one of the extension of this currently, what most of the people are trying to do is neuromicrophenomenology. You can assess simultaneously some of the neuroscience related parameters and then connect that with these kinds of experiences as well. So that is this, and it's one of the PhD work and the data analysis going on. We have also assessed how much is it practically working in real life scenarios, because many times what we do, we ask the meditators to sit and do meditation, and when they do meditation, fine, they are doing good. But they do not have any idea about how much stressful situations I am going through when I am looking at the patients in OPD. They do not have even an exposure like that. So to answer these kinds of questions, what we did was, when the meditators were doing their regular activities throughout the day, in real-time scenarios, can we give them some kind of notification and ask them to feel certain things? How do they feel? What is their mental state? Through some techniques like technologies like Android-based applications. So it's like throughout the day, say for example, I want to assess mind wandering or mindfulness. Throughout the day, they will just get some Android notifications, pop-up notifications in their mobile, and just there will be some few questions, very short questions, so that it won't take much time. They would just have to fill it up and then submit it off. So this is how we have assessed mindfulness and also mind wandering in meditators throughout the day, and this is also being analyzed currently. So this is another PhD work one of my students currently at IIT Mandi is continuing. We all agree that early morning meditation is something very powerful. Whether we do it or not, this is not a common understanding. But do we have anything really scientifically to back up this thing? There is not much actually. So this we have taken as one of the PhD work, and what we are doing is we are asking the meditators to do during early morning 4 to 4:45, and we are doing EEG assessments, and the same person, same meditators, we are asking them to do meditation at some other time in the afternoon as well. And we are trying to analyze, are they similar or different? If there is anything common, what is it? And if it is anything different, what is it? So this is also another PhD work related to digital wellness. We have entered into an era where we are blurring the boundaries between humans and then machines. And this is actually going to create a huge confusion, and it has already started. Because we feel these days like if the phone is not ringing or if it is not giving any kind of notifications related to message, we feel something is wrong. We don't feel comfortable. To such an extent, we have integrated machines as if they are part of our own self. So we have already entered into this kind of stage. So this is going to multiply like anything in the near future, and it has already started. So keeping this thing at the context, at the background, it is very important now that we need to educate ourselves in the context of this digital wellness as well, particularly for our children at least, if not for adults. So this PhD work is related to this kind of developing digital wellness, and what we are doing is we are embedding this digital wellness program as a college curriculum, as a regular course, along with their regular course. And over a period of 6 months in the entire semester, it will be given in weekly sessions. And what is the impact of this in their academic performance, their personal life, and other kinds of relations with family, friends, all these kinds of stuff. So this is about digital wellness. Many times people say that it's very difficult to sit and then do meditation because you need to focus yourself. So what we are trying to do is, can we simplify this process of meditation? Because all of us definitely have this experience when we listen to good music, piece of music, we definitely feel good. Can this also be used as a tool to induce meditation or to keep that music itself as an intervention of meditation? So to assess this thing, what we are doing is we are asking meditators to perform meditation with some set of commentaries, which is the regular thing which most of the times people do. And we are also asking them to do meditation with the help of some song, which has some values, which has some meanings. So whether these two things are similar or different, is it possible to reach a state of meditation even with just a piece of music or song, and how can we assess these things? So this is what we are doing in this, and for this we are taking this objective parameter called as heart rate variability. So this is one of the standard measures which are very commonly used to assess stress, especially autonomic nervous function. So this is also, currently we have finished the data collection and we are just analyzing. Related to physiological understanding of this Raj Yoga meditation, which Dr. Sushil Chandra was also telling. So these are two published studies, one published in collaboration with IISc Bangalore and another one with IMAS DRDO. So the findings of these study, one is EEG study and another one is fMRI study, DTI study basically. So the findings of this study was there is enhanced better connectivity between the left and right hemispheres as it was observed with corpus callosum. Its connectivity increase in number of fibers or connection between these two hemispheres. So this was the DTI study, and the other recent study which was conducted by IISc as a part of a student's PhD work. So they have done some EEG related analysis, that is something called as coherence. So what they found was between the left and right hemisphere, especially the frontal portion of the brain, which is involved in most of the psychiatric disorders also. So they found enhanced coherence, particularly in one specific band called as alpha. And this has more relevance to some of the disorders like depression also, which I will share in future slides as well. So what they found was there was better coherence in alpha band, particularly in the frontal lobes in meditators, which is more compared to non-meditators or short-term meditators. So this is another EEG study which was done in collaboration with INMAS, where Dr. Sushil Chandra was working. So what they have studied in this was there is something called as alpha asymmetry. People who are in psychiatry, they might be aware. People who have depression, major depressive disorder, their right frontal lobe is hyperactive, and that is also taken as a kind of target, say for example transcranial magnetic stimulation. So they use the TMS to inhibit the right portion of the brain, or they try to stimulate the left portion of the brain to bring balance, because it is an imbalance because of this asymmetry. So in major depressive disorder, this alpha asymmetry is like this. The right brain is hyperactive, whereas left brain is not so active. And how do you see this in EEG is, in EEG, alpha bands, their amplitudes are lesser on the right brain because it is inhibitory. And on the left brain it is more. So what we have done in this was, can Raj Yoga bring this balance back? Can this reverse alpha asymmetry which is there in major depressive disorder? And in fact, it is capable of doing that. So this alpha asymmetry, which is actually in the reverse side in people with depression, can be brought back to normalcy. So this is an EEG study. This is also a published study. Another thing is related to gamma waves. This is very much relevant for elderly people. We might be knowing most of the people here. For perception, especially visual perception, gamma plays a very huge role. And the gamma waves can be induced with something called as a grating. What you see here, this alternate stripes of black and white bands. When you present this kind of stimulus in front of people, you can actually induce gamma waves in your brain. So this is the ISC study. What they have done is they have called meditators, Raj Yoga meditators, and they have asked them to see these visual stimuli. Both meditators and non-meditators were compared, and when this stimuli was given, what is the amount of gamma waves in meditators and non-meditators? They have compared, and they could see the gamma waves were more in meditators compared to non-meditators. What is the significance of this thing? As we age, in elderly people, there is a clear-cut evidence that this gamma wave gets lesser, amplitude becomes lesser, and that leads to cognitive decline. This is an established fact. Particularly it happens in Alzheimer and related dementia also. So with this study we are able to get some kind of proof of principle that this decline in cognition, which is mediated by decreased gamma frequency amplitude, can be reversed or maybe delayed with the help of practices like meditation, including Raj Yoga, because that could actually enhance gamma wave frequencies and then amplitude. So this is another MRI study which was done in collaboration with Manipal University, Bangalore. So what they have done was, what they found was, some of the brain regions that are related to happiness, structurally the volume is more in meditators compared to non-meditators. The reward regions and also happiness related regions like ventral tegmental area and then precuneus and connected networks. That's also a published study in Scientific Reports, one of the Nature publications. So this is another sophisticated study which has happened in NIMHANS. It's a simultaneous EEG and fMRI study. I don't think even in India there are many centers where they have simultaneous fMRI and EEG. So one of the places is NIMHANS, and maybe another one or two places it is still there. So this is a very highly sophisticated study where they use EEG as well as fMRI simultaneously. What they have focused was whether the networks that are related to focus are mind wandering. Is it different in meditators and non-meditators? So they have assessed this network called as a default mode network, which is related to mind wandering and also mind focus, you can say. So what they found was in long-term Raj Yoga meditators, this activity in DMN, which is connected to mind wandering, is lesser significantly compared to non-meditators. This is one thing. The other thing is, they also did a very minute level of analysis called as microstate. What is a microstate? This microstate is, our brain keeps on acting continuously, it keeps on functioning continuously, and it keeps fluctuating. And this fluctuation also can be a sign of how much one is stable or non-stable or fluctuating. So this microstate they call as atom of thoughts. So this is a kind of hot topic for research which happens in neuroscience these days. They've assessed this microstate, and what they found was the same DM and default mode network which is related to self-processing, which happens actively in meditation. They found that in meditators were able to stay in this self-related processing state longer, which was assessed by this microstate compared to non-meditators. Some of the tools that we have been developing are, one is something related to developing the kind of inner powers that we have. This is a scale basically, but even now we do not have any kind of such scales which are rooted in Indian philosophy. There are some, but not really that much really validated. So we are working on this kind of scale, and almost the second phase is also over. We are just about to collate all the details and then publish it somewhere. So it is related to what are the different kinds of powers that we have which can be enhanced with practices like meditation and yoga. Can we assess that objectively with these scales? So that's about this study. So another study which is also part of PhD work which we are doing in collaboration with NIMHANS is related to Raj Yoga proficiency or meditation proficiency in general. So even now we actually do not have any kind of objective measure to say how good or bad somebody is doing meditation. Say for example, there are hundreds and hundreds of studies that have been published, but if you ask them, the researchers or the meditators, to do the study once again, can we get the same results or not? we really do not know. So to assess such kind of proficiency, to have some objective measures of proficiency, what we are doing in this study is, we are asking the meditators to do meditation repeatedly for 2 days, and each day at least 4 meditation sessions. If I am saying that I can reach a particular mental state in the name of meditation, what I am supposed to show or do is, can I show objectively the same kind of mental state in the name of some EEG measures as and when I sit in the name of meditation? For example, if you say like, this sweet is so tasty and I enjoy this, can you objectively show that yes, you are enjoying this sweet every time when you eat? Only then you can say yes, you are enjoying that sweet and that sweet is really a sweet. So comparing this with meditation, if you say you are entering into a higher state in the name of meditation, can you enter willingly as and when it is required to that mental state, and can that be assessed objectively? So this is one aspect of this proficiency measure. The other aspect of the proficiency measure is, we also need to have some kind of contrast. Say for example, when you say that this sweet is really sweet, that always happens in the contrast of, in the context of something which is opposite to that. Unless you know what is bitter, it would be difficult for you to distinguish between what is sweet also. It's like if you have not at all seen what is night, there is nothing called as day for you. So in the same way, when we say you are entering into a particular state called as a meditative state, can we contrast that also against something else which is not meditation? So for that we are doing some working memory task, some other cognitive task which is not meditation, and that should be strikingly different compared to a meditative state also. So that is also being used to develop this proficiency measure. So like this, we are doing multiple tasks to arrive at some proficiency measure, and we have arrived at an individual level. Can there be some numbers with which we can say how good or bad somebody is? And these are the numbers which we have arrived, and these are being collated, and we are yet to publish it somewhere in some good journal. So related to disorders, of course, this is one challenging area. The challenge is mainly because getting people like you and then making them understand what we are doing is the biggest challenge first, because it requires some amount of mindset from your side also, and more than the mindset, it requires a lot of time and energy as well, which is practically difficult most of the times. So in that context, we are still doing some work, but it would be great really if many people like you come forward, and then we can join hands together to expand this kind of research work. Some of the works which we have done is, one is related to spinal cord injury, which was actually mainly spearheaded by Ekta Ben, who is sitting here, was the key person doing this whole study. So around 100 patients with spinal cord injury were assessed. They were given Raj Yoga meditation for almost 1 month, and before and after, their stress levels, quality of life, all these things were assessed, and it was found after meditation intervention they had better quality of life, decreased pain, and increased other activities of daily living. And we have also assessed their caregivers, because many times it becomes a burden for the caregivers because it's a long-term care. So their stress levels, their anxiety levels, all those things were also found to be lesser after Raj Yoga intervention. So this is another disorder, panic disorder, where Raj Yoga intervention was given. This was conducted with AIIMS partner, and it's a published study. So we also found significant decrease in panic symptoms among the patients who underwent this Raj Yoga meditation intervention. So this is another ongoing study at AIIMS partner. We are looking at quality of life and some inflammatory markers, cytokines, in people who are survivors of breast cancer who are coming for regular follow-ups. So this is also an ongoing study. We are still collecting the data. This is something relevant to this department where we are discussing all these things now. So we are conducting one study currently at Jindal Hospital, Hisar, where pediatric patients, people, especially children, not children, neonates, preterm babies especially, who are admitted in hospital for various complications. Obviously they cannot do meditation, and at the same time we need to give some kind of intervention for them. And it's a belief, especially in Indian context, that our good thoughts or vibrations can also help others in the name of good wishes. So can we do something on these lines? That is the whole idea of this project. So what we are doing is, we are doing something called as distance healing with Raj Yoga as a context. So in this, the intervention is given by long-term meditators. The patient is in the hospital, but a group of meditators, they sit periodically for at least 20 minutes and they do meditation for the babies, preterm babies who are admitted in the hospital. So it's an ongoing study, and a part of the work we have already analyzed and we have published, we have put it in one of the conference related work also currently. So this I think is very much relevant and it can be carried out here as well. Similarly, we are now extending that from pediatrics to OG also in the same hospital, because after looking at that experiment, some other doctors who are working in that same hospital, they also came forward, can we also do in our department? And we are planning this, we are planning to implement as a kind of PhD work for one of my students. So what we are doing is, we are taking people who have oligohydramnias, lesser amount of amniotic fluid, and this again based on some kind of pilot experience which one of the physicians who is practicing meditation for some years, she is running a hospital, and based on her personal experience with different kinds of meditation interventions including positive suggestions, some of these patients with oligohydramnias, they could actually get better, including with some objective measures related to decreased amniotic fluid. So with that context, we are expanding this as a proper RCT randomized controlled trial, and we are also thinking of including some patients who are not patients, people with pregnancy who are undergoing cesarean section. Can we make it much more comfortable in terms of pain and other kinds of experiences, discomforts which they usually go through? So most of the studies and assessments that we do, we actually do not have much instruments. I mean the SPARC, which is associated with Brahma, is the research wing. But what we have is this LEAD instrument, which is a high-grade research instrument, which costs almost around 60 lakhs if it is a 64 channel. So this we have, and it's highly portable, and we take it anywhere across India, and we collect most of the data with this. And other kinds of tools, as we collaborate with the standard institutions, we use their tools in agreement based on the mutual interest. So these are all the different research works that we have published. You can go through our website also, SPARC website. Whatever I have discussed till now, these are all the references which are all published work. Maybe in future we'll also give you this booklet which is already there with Dr. Vikram Datta, so that you can also go through and read more about whatever I discussed. Thank you.
I'm sure we have looked at the innovative aspects and the original research methodology and how spirituality and medicine crosses the road, and how very little about it is taught in medical schools like ours for over 100 years old. Okay, so and when somebody talks about spirituality and medicine, most of the time he is probably taken as somebody who's seriously off target or doesn't know much about the subject. So I believe your research is really eye-opening for a group of BM students who are sitting here, who are highly analytical and very intellectually accomplished. And I'm sure they have been working in very stressful situations in the ICU and front line of healthcare. We'll just take you for a stroll also into the NICU to look at the work environment here. I'm sure the message has gone to the nursing colleagues also, how meditation is going to be helping in all aspects, and they have shown hard research for that. So coming to the concluding parts, because we have another function coming up here, we have been talking about meditation and the benefits right through. So I will now request our next eminent speaker to please come forward and give you a taste of 5 minutes of how meditation is done. And you can, like sir had just said, even a minute of meditation in between your very rigorous task, just a full stop and a break for a minute is going to make the difference and make you more efficient and relaxed. Over to you.
Om Shanti. As you are hearing this word continuously, and Director Ma'am has spoken about it, but the Om meaning is I am. Om represents the self. And who's the self? That is soul. Soul means source of unique light. And what light we have? The cards all of you have in your hands. I am a unique light of knowledge, love, peace, happiness, purity, power. We all are looking for the same. I'm sure that we all are looking for the same. So, and this soul is just an energy. And how the soul filled with these qualities? When it connects with the Supreme Soul, that is God. So the soul is a very small energy, just like a tiny star. And the God, who is also a tiny star, but his ocean of love, peace, happiness, bliss, power, knowledge. Therefore, for small reasons, to whom we remember the Supreme Power, because he is our charge, right? And all these Raj Yoga meditation, what you have heard in the research project also, so the spark, what spark is doing, this meditation practice, we are just trying to give this energy, and we radiate this energy, enhance the power of the other person to connect with the Supreme Power. Then the practical result is in front of you. So all these virtues are within. We don't need to look outside. And how to flourish with that, that is the communion with the Supreme. So you just need to do heart-to-heart conversation with the Supreme. But why we can't do it? Because we were not aware who's the Supreme and who am I. Who I am, everyone knows. But who am I? No one knows. So we all are playing our roles. But who's playing the role? That is the soul which is within this body. So till the soul is in the body, we are playing the roles. And every day we are playing different roles. So in different roles, we are giving different energy to our subordinates, family, patients, everyone. So आप सब medical professionals हैं, लेकिन है तो एक energy. How you treat patients with your qualities, not only the medical proficiency, but your innate virtues. If you are not speaking with them with the love, will they heal? If the nursing staff is not taking care of patient with the love, can the patient heal? So what is more required? And that is the spirituality. So your academic proficiency works when the spiritual qualities are there. Without that, you can't deal with the body, with the self also. So, let's stand. सभी खड़े हो जाएंगे. आप सबके हाथ में जो कार्ड है, एक बार उसको सामने रखेंगे. एक बार फिर से हम अपने कार्ड्स को पढ़ लेंगे. अपने आप को रियलाइज कराएंगे. यस, radiating light of knowledge, peace, love, happiness, bliss, power. Realize कीजिए, I am radiating this light. Now turn, front row turn towards the back side, and then third row turn towards their back side. So face to face turning करिए. This way. And just see at middle of forehead. This soul is same as I am. This soul is also peaceful. This soul is also pure. See at the middle of forehead. And now exchange the card you have with the other person. With the same energy, you exchange the card. Now turn to the other person. अभी आप आपस में कनेक्ट हो जाएं. Now you exchange what you have now to the other person. And feel. Now you read your card. What you get now. And feel, yes, I am this. Now see straight. सामने देखेंगे सीधा. अपने स्थानों पर बैठ जाएंगे. अब जो आपको वर्चू मिला है उसको फिर से रीड करें. बहुत ध्यान से इसको देखेंगे एंड थैंक्स करेंगे. थैंक यू गॉड to make me in your safe hands. Always be with me as you are showering love and peace. Let me radiate this love and peace to everyone. Let's spread the energy. Thank you to fill me with this divine virtues. Om Shanti. Thank you. So that's how we radiate the energy to heal everyone's heart in mind. And that is called the Mansa Seva, which we can